What up? What up? What up? It is the last 2025 Shark Cove. Maybe it's only the third, but look, we are back. We're talking futures. It's Friday. Talking with Kev. Got to lower my voice because my wife's gonna be upset if I'm talking too loud. We had some technical difficulties. We had some timing difficulties, but through it all, we figured it out, and we're ready to deliver the goods. Kev, you've got a trip coming up tomorrow. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to Florida to see the Jets Jaguars game, and then I'm going to the Bahamas. So
Oh, nice. You should swing by Clearwater and go see Moose. He lives there now. So, but he's not there. He's actually in Spain. So don't do that. Hence why he's not here with us today. Um, but yeah, look, I wanted to get on today and kind of talk about what we have to talk about. It feels like this is kind of that void. I'm stuck watching Kespa, Nest, random leagues that I found that are on Twitch, but some of these aren't supported for betting. So it's good to kind of now, as we've seen most of the rosters for the most part be completed, talk at least about those futures, talk about what's on the horizon for the Shark Cove, and just get prepared for what hopefully is not another season of disappointment. If you know what that means. Kev, I'm right there with you. I don't think we can handle it again. It just can't happen.
no, it will not happen. It will not happen.
Well, before we get into that, we will start with the LCK, but let's talk a little bit about what you can expect from the Shark Cove moving into next season, next year, 2025. A little bit more consistency, and obviously more consistency than the last year and a half, 2 years, because there's been nothing. But looking to put out 5 to 6 pieces of content, maybe 2 to 3 live streams. Hopefully Kev can join us and impart some of his always optimistic wisdom. Maybe we can find some leagues that he actually enjoys talking about, and keep the good matches on there for Kev, because when it comes to LTA, LEC, and of course these ERLs and ACL that I love, Kev wants no part of those. I was playing a couple games today, Kevin. Just some of the things that my junglers were doing, oh man, I don't even know how you would have acted. I do. You probably would have gotten the account banned, but nevertheless. So we may change the site or the channel, the YouTube might switch to a new Shark Cove. We're going to open a new Discord. All of this, of course, is going to be free, but we're going to add some fun content too, some poster analyzation, some player props, of course, maybe some game breakdowns, and then possibly some streams. Kind of build a community, hopefully positive. But if people want to be toxic, I will give Kevin moderator, and we'll create a toxic part of the Discord where people can go and kind of just let loose and not feel like they're being judged for how toxic they're being. So it'll be a good release for some people, I think. So, Kev, let's hop right into it, man. I think one of the things we need to talk about is the LCK. The LCK futures are out. We've got a couple contenders, a couple pretenders, and a couple teams that just aren't going to do anything. Let's go ahead and start with these top two. Hanwha Life. They make arguably one of the best moves any team could be, really getting rid of their worst player. Not that Doran was a bad player per se, but the weakest part of the roster, and they go out and do so by getting the best top laner possibly in the world. Hanwha Life at plus 175. What are your thoughts on the move? What are your thoughts on the league? Floor's yours.
Yeah, I mean, Hanwha was always already really good, and now they add, like, I don't know if he's the best top laner in the world, but he's probably one of the most versatile. Like, we saw it in the world final where he just he can play the Gragas, he can play the carries, he played Ornn, like he can do it all. So I don't really see the downside of this team at all. I like they're instantly at worst like the third best team in the world, just on pay, like before any games have been played. Like, obviously maybe they're not going to synergize well, maybe as all the T1 fans say, oh, maybe Zeus is just too depressed because he's leaving his best friends, his posse behind. So maybe he just isn't going to be able to play well. And no one can play well without Faker. So, I mean, maybe he's probably just going to suck. So who knows?
Yeah, for
Maybe,
sure.
maybe they're not going to be good, but like there's almost no world in which this team fails. And at least in terms of like, depending on what you define failure as, but like instantly this is like a world's contending team.
Yeah, I was going to stop you there. I think that there's a lot of ways that this team fails because I think that the bar is set incredibly high for them. I think
it just depends on how you would define failure for specific teams.
So. Yeah, like look, it's impossible to fail based off of how Fear is looking at their season. But from Hanwha's perspective, they won the LCK last year. They went deep and made a World Finals run. I think that they're looking to make it to the finals or possibly win it. We've got a couple champions on that roster with Viper, Zeka. So I don't think that anything outside of a win is acceptable to them. Now, look, here's the thing that I kind of thought about is we've instantly put Hanwha as this favorite. And I think that that's rightfully so. But this is also a team that really wasn't the favorite within the league until the playoffs. They made a run. They finally got over that hump and they were able to beat Gen G and kind of go from there. But since then, they haven't been able to replicate that to some extent. My concern with this team is that they were always just kind of right there. Have they really crossed that line, or did they just take a step over it and take a step back? And perhaps that's what this move is to solidify, is that they have taken that next step. But like you got somebody like Gen G who's made some moves of their own, arguably improved their team. Both of these teams are similar in odds. Do you have any interest at either of these teams at plus 175 or plus 200?
I mean, that's like really short prices, but I mean, for me, it's one of those two teams are going to win the, going to win the title. I think anyone other, I mean, T1 can win, but we even heard their own CEO talk about how they struggle to beat Korean teams. And that's what we've seen. They can't win in the LCK, but then once all the shitty LCK teams get knocked out by the LPL, and then T1 just gets to beat all the LPL teams. So like in regional settings, I like T1 at plus 250. Like that's got to be the worst price I've ever seen. Like they would need to be in like the 600 to 800 range for me to consider betting them to win. Like just based on how good Hanwha and Gen G are in terms of like against other Korean teams. But I mean, Gen G has the same exact roster with a objectively better AD carry. And I mean, probably put me or you on support on that team and we'd go to the finals. Like, I don't think it really matters as long as this Duro guy isn't a complete reject. Like, and I don't think he is. So,
yeah. So, like, when I'm looking at the LCK here, I think that, we're in line. It's got to be Hanwha or Gen G. One of these two teams are the most likely to win. The odds reflect that. I think that there are three other teams that I'm somewhat interested in. I should say three teams that I think have a chance or a shot, and we'll talk about each one of those. T1, we've kind of made mention of it. Plus 250 is not an odds that I'm going to take because, as you said, I think a plus 600, plus 800 is probably more in line with what we're looking at. This is a team that hasn't won a regional championship recently, and then they arguably got rid of one of their best player. Now, I don't think that Zeus was their best player. I think that's owner, and I know that that's not a popular opinion, but one thing I know for sure is it's not Faker. Faker is not their best player.
No, he's the esports bro. Stop being a hater. He's the esports player of the year on any award show you look at. He's the player of the year because he's the best.
Look, he is probably the most clutch, and I can't deny that. But there are two teams that we haven't talked about, and I know you're going to roll your eyes, and I know your opinion on both of these teams. But let's start with the long shot. I think we saw in Kespa Bro actually take a step here. Now, look, I don't expect Bro to be able to beat a Gen G and a Hanwha and make that way through, but this team played well in a lot of different situations. Morgan is solid. Closer's a good player. You've got Hype. Look, at plus 8,000, throw a $10 bet on this team. I don't hate it. I don't expect them to win, but if you're looking for a long shot, that's the long shot that I'm taking. I don't need your analyzation there because I know what you feel there.
I'm literally looking up these players right now. Okay, Hamback was at least on the best challengers team.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bull's
the dude from Africa or Guangdong, right?
Yeah, but Bull's not going to be the guy. Hype is.
Oh, it's the other dude who's that. Is he on KT as well?
I don't know where he came from. I'm just basing it off of the Kespa. So look,
okay, yeah, he's from he's from KT as well. All right, cool. Yeah, they at least got up and coming guys.
Look, if you look at this Kespa 2024, let's go take a look at this, Kev. Let's go take a look at who this bro team beat. I think they beat Gen G. They beat Hanwha, maybe. I know that they beat Damwon. So let's take a look here. God, this is terrible. Overview. So to win the championship, they beat Hanwha, and Hanwha sent their legit lineup. This wasn't like
no, Hanwha did not send their legit lineup.
Well,
they were playing with Rooster and Grizzly.
This is true.
Okay. Dude, trust me. I watched Breon versus Hanwha, and it was disgusting.
Look, so Breon, they beat Hanwha, they beat DK. I think we can find another game where the rest of them are best of one. So we'll take that. But look, plus 8,000. My point being, this is a team that you can throw a $10 bet on there. You can forget about it. And one day, if you wake up, all of a sudden you got like $800 in your account. It'll feel great. Okay. Let's talk about the other team. And I think this team has more of a legitimate chance to do it. And that's going to be Damwon. I think Damwon was, you have your opinions on Damwon. They didn't seem like they had it all together. They were a bad late game team. But I think that they've made some roster changes that kind of fix some of those situations, right? Like their two worst players are no longer with the team. I mean, that's arguable. I mean, I guess you probably don't think highly of Lucid, but I think Kingen and Kellen being taken out of that team, keeping that core three with Lucid, Showmaker, and aiming together, adding in two-time world champion Beryl, who's just an absolute unit, could cost this team that plus 1,000, but he could make it too. And Siwoo, who I was actually relatively impressed. I think that this team is a legitimate chance to make a run. I don't think that they're going to be a powerhouse, but it's a team that I think if they get hot, they could beat any team that we have here in this league.
Yeah. Damwon was fucking terrible last year, but they made the one move that can help them, and that I don't like Beryl, but you can't deny something happens on his team, so it means that he's the shot caller, but like things happen on his teams where they're just good sometimes, and that has to be because he is shot calling, and that's the only that's what Damwon was missing. And like they were completely headless chickens past like 14 minutes in every single game that they played last year, and now they're brought in Beryl, who hopefully will fix it. I mean, he will solo lose some games probably, but I think overall it's kind of like the C9 thing, where it's like they just need to bring in somebody with a brain, because it's clear that between Lucid, Showmaker, and aiming, not a single cell of brain matter is between those three. So Beryl, I like the move. I actually do like them at plus 1,000, but I don't bet long shots like that personally. So if I don't think they can win the league, I don't bet it. So I think
that's fair. And that makes sense. And so that probably take the Brion off there, but I think you can make I legitimately think that D Plus has a chance. A lot of things need to fall in place. The other thing that I like coming out of Kespa, and I know that it's not something that's necessarily indicative of the way that they're going to play next year with some of the changes. It's not a for real tournament, but I thought Showmaker showed a certain aggressiveness that we haven't seen in a couple of years. So that's positive. Maybe he's just like, dude,
he's got Beryl back.
He's got Beryl back.
He's got Beryl. I'm telling you, bro. Beryl is just an enigma.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is whenever I see Showmaker, I think of Cody, because he had it as his avatar for so long that I associate Cody with Showmaker, just like I associate Spelkowski with Queentown. So, it is what it is. If your avatar is something, I will associate you with that for a while. But looking through the rest of these, is there anything else that sticks out here? Do you think any of these teams made some incredibly huge mistakes or incredibly significant downgrades?
Kellen coming in for anyone is a downgrade. He is awful. Nongshim getting Lehens is actually pretty good. I don't think Lehens deserves to be exiled to Nongshim, even though he did allow T1 to make it to the finals. But I don't think he deserves that. I think he should be on like KT or something. And then,
let me tell you something about
Lehens.
Lehens on a bad team is a beautiful thing for you and I, because we can go over to the Underdog app. We can register with code COVE, get a $100 match or whatever they're doing at the time. And then we can bet the deaths on Lehens. And let me tell you, as long as this guy is on an engage and it's not Braum, we're good. He's going to hit the over absolutely every time. The roster that kind of stands out to me in a bad way here is actually there's two of them. First of all, KT, BDD. What are you doing? Like, what is this team that is around this guy? Like, if this KT roster is even remotely good, I think BDD needs to be elevated past Faker as the greatest of all time, because this bottom lane, this top side of the map, that is atrocious. It's almost as disgusting as this Kwangdong lineup.
You could make a case that either KT's GM is the greatest thing ever, getting cousin for Piosik, or the Kwangdong GM is it might be Hitler bringing in Piosik for cuz. Like, just Piosik coming in on anyone is a downgrade. That guy is awful. He should be in the LTA South with Jose Diodo. Like, he should be battling Jose for a spot, not battling Cuz for a spot. And so anytime Piosik comes into a roster, it's a downgrade.
And you've got Berserker, who is obviously sick of the C9 organization and being paired with the likes of Vulcan and Sven, and now he gets life.
It's so much better.
Oh man! All right. Oh, well, let's hop over to a Western League that has their futures out. Let's talk about the LEC. Obviously, the number one team that stands out here, and they always do, is going to be G2, minus 200 on a future to win the league. We've got a couple other teams here that it's incredible. I think there's value to bet almost any of these teams outside of G2. And if you quizzed me right now before I looked at the other screen, I couldn't tell you what half of these rosters are. The only ones I remember off the top of my head are Vitality, which looks absolutely trash and very deserving of that plus 3,300. And that Rogue lineup, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god, I saw the Rogue lineup. That might be the only one underneath Carmen Corp whose roster that I know. Rogue's roster is a disaster.
It could be, but it might not be. Like,
it is.
This is you're letting your opinions of the jungler kind of sway the rest of this. I think that team at plus 4,000 is disrespected. They're a plus 2,000 team, no worse.
Maybe they'll play more than 20 games this year.
Let's take a look at these rosters and let's take a look at the changes. Obviously, we're going to start at the top. G2 goes out, makes some really interesting changes, gets rid of Mickey X, get rid of Yike. I'm sure that there was some financials here or some things behind the scenes, and pick up Skumond and Lebrov. To me, those were kind of, I didn't really understand that. A team like G2, to me, maybe did need to move on from Mickey X, but the whole Yike moving on what caught me by surprise. I kind of thought that he worked with his team, or perhaps he didn't because he wanted to be the carry. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. I think there might be a case to be made that like that team reached its peak and like they're just like they couldn't get any better than they already were. I mean like they were a top 8, top 6 team in the world for 2 years in a row. They yeah, maybe. I don't know. I kind of felt like Yike could play like anything, which was like he was like really good at Rel. I thought he was like really good. Yeah, money wouldn't surprise me. He's like really good at the Rel when it was a thing. And he's like I thought he was really good at like Brand and Nidalee and like the carry shit like that. But I was really surprised. I wasn't really surprised to see Yike go, but I was shocked that they let Mickey go. I think we've seen over and over again that like nobody is even remotely close to Mickey X in this league. And I don't like Lebrov. I don't think he's very good. So I think this team definitely is going to take a step back. But I don't know anything about Skewmond. I looked at his like the whatever the website is. I looked at that today and I saw that he plays like a fuck ton of Volibear. So I mean, how good can he really be? I don't know.
I mean, I thought he was pretty good, but it's always weird to translate because I didn't really think that Yike was going to be as good as he was coming into the league.
Yike was like instant, but Yike was instantly the best jungler in the league. So it's maybe whoever plays with Caps is just God. So
yeah, perhaps, and perhaps it's a situation where he wanted to be more of a carry, but you've got like 2 or 3 guys. Like everybody can't be a carry, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the problem that I think sometimes plagues G2, and maybe behind the scenes there are some problems there. So it should be interesting, but at minus 200, I think that's absurd. Let's go over to the second favorite right next to him, Fnatic. Fnatic keeps the top half of their map the same, which I think was, given what we look at for the rest of the league, probably the right decision. But going out and getting upset in Mickey X, this is interesting to me because you've got a guy that is a complete KDA player. To me, the most overrated ADC in the entire world in upset. This guy has literally won nothing ever. And then you've got a guy that loves to die in Mickey X. I'm not saying that Upset is a bad player, but for as long as I've been into league, people have tried to sell me the goods that Upset is like the guy, and I've just never seen it. It's never shown that to me. He's shown flashes, but he doesn't show it in such a way that wins you games at the highest level in the times that you need that, like regular season. The split, it's great for DFS. It's wonderful. Kill totals over, deaths under. That's great. But when it comes to Worlds, bro's running home to his girlfriend, or his wife or his mom. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're in lockstep. This Fnatic team is just filled with a bunch of fucking losers. Like Upset, he's just a loser. Like he's just a loser. Like he just doesn't get it done. Like you said, he's just the most overrated fucking player ever. I have no idea how he made it on this team. I mean, he's replacing Noah, so Noah is horrible. I feel bad for Mickey X. Like maybe he can work his magic. I don't know. Razork is a loser. Oscarinin sucks. Humanoid he hasn't cared in like 3 years. Like I can't even be happy about Humanoid. Like I want like Humanoid and Mickey are the only winners on this team, but Humanoid doesn't care. It's hard to back a team when one of your players just doesn't care, and he only cares at Worlds. And so I can't back that team. And what are their odds? Plus 600.
Plus 600.
And I mean, there's other teams further down that I like more than that. But maybe Mickey X can just lead this team. Like the same thing with Razork is everyone's trying to sell me the bag of goods on how Razork is just this incredible stud, and he's a loser. He fits in so everyone on this team fits in so well except for Mickey X. All 4 of these players are losers except for Mickey.
Look, I think you're being a little bit harsh. I think Razork's a good solid jungler. I think that
he's solid, but people keep telling me he's by far the best jungler in the league, and it's just not true.
No, I mean, I can look at. It's funny because before we went on the show, I said that one of the deepest positions in the LCS, the LTA, was the jungle. When you look at the LEC, this is, man, there are a lot of bad junglers here.
Are there?
Between,
let me ask you: are there any deep positions in LEC? No.
I mean, I think if you were going to make a case
I
for
think it would
one,
have to be mid lane.
I was going to say ADC or mid lane. Yeah, I mean, like the
I think it has to be
but
mid. Has to be
that,
mid lane. There's like, I mean, if you count
Jeez.
humanoid as being good, there's 1, 2,
well, you got
3.
Nuke.
There's like 4 mid laners that are good, taking half of Jojo Pion and half of Nuke. They each count as a half. So I'll give it 4. So it's like Caps, Jackie's, Vladdy, and then the combination of half of Nuke and half of Jojo.
I'm gonna be real honest. I think the LEC is at like a not low position. Like these teams just
LEC
looking at
is
them,
terrible.
Like I get more excited watching like the LFL or
Yeah.
the EU Masters. That there are better players in those leagues. These teams just are not serious.
They're extremely unserious league. I agree.
I haven't sat here and just stared at these teams.
You don't want to do it for too long. It'll hurt your eyes.
This is awful, man. So let's go down the list. The next odds at plus 950. We've got Carmine Corp, who gets just boosted up by an incredible fan base, and up and down this lineup doesn't look that bad. Canna, not my favorite player, but given the context of the league, I don't have a problem. Yike, best jungler in the league. I don't think that is a far cry. I think you can make a case for a couple different guys, but I would feel confident saying that Yike is the best jungler here. Vladdy,
Vladdy is good. Vladdy is good.
Yeah, I mean, and Kaliste, I mean, this guy has a ton of hype around him. I don't think he's hype worthy, but I think he's good, and I think Targamas is good. I think that this team is solid. Plus 950 seems a little heavy to me. I think that I'd probably want it more plus 1500, plus 1600. But this is one of the teams that I think I do have enough value that I would be interested in potentially making a bet here if I had the good old American dollars. They haven't been stolen from me via tariffs and price hikes. Or maybe I need to bet Carmine and I need the French to win so I can pay for all of Donnie's tariffs. So Carmine Corp, 2 thumbs up for me. How about you?
Yeah, I like the KC team. The 2 things I don't like about this team, I'm a little worried that I don't know who's gonna speak in this team, because it's not gonna be Kana because he's Korean. I doubt it'll be Kalist because he's a rookie. Targamas is mute. And I don't recall Yike speaking a whole lot in the.
Well, Kev, here's something I'll tell you, that there was a coach, and I don't remember who it was, but I saw a video, and he said that they would run 2 sets of scrims. They would do full communication scrims, and then they would do muted scrims. And he said that when they did muted scrims, the results were always better. So, perhaps this is what Carmine Corp's going to do. There's going to be no communication.
They're just going to play it like solo queue game. They're just going to ping. Okay, I could dig that. But other than me not liking Targamas, and I don't know who's going to speak in this team, I think it's a good team. Like
I think they might even be playing tomorrow. I think
yeah, they're playing like show. They're playing a show match is on Sunday.
Oh, okay. So the Rats play T1 tomorrow, I believe, and then we've got
all those games are on Sunday.
Sunday. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's exciting. This is something to do.
And it's KC versus G2 as well. So at least give us something. So we'll see.
Man, hopefully Nathan can put something up for us. So let's go into the next 2 teams. We've got Team BDS and Movie Star Koi, no longer the Mad Lions. The Lions are dead. BDS at plus 1100, Koi at plus 1400. Let's start with BDS. Irrelevant. I like him. I like Nuke. I like Paris. I think Paris is probably one of the best AD or not ADCs, but he might be the best ADC. But support 113. I just
That's your favorite player.
God. I mean, I'm excited because this guy dies a lot. He dies a hell of a lot. He's one of my auto clicks for deaths, especially if this team is going to lose. So when they're playing G2 and they're playing KC, this is a team that you just lock that 113 deaths over because the guy is an Inter. He's always been an Inter, and he always will be an Inter. This team at plus 1100 seems wrong. I much prefer going to Koi because I like this roster top to bottom. I don't think that they're a world's contender, but I do see a world where they win this league and win it convincingly. Maybe JoJo's not inting one day. Maybe he's in a good mood. He's not making mistakes. They tighten it up, and like they've got the talent. I think that top to bottom, they're one of the most talented teams in this in the West as a whole.
Yeah.
So I like Koi a lot. I think I'll probably place a wager on them as well.
Yeah, Koi is, I think, like by far the most egregiously priced team in term this team got, I guess, I mean they got like memed on so hard last year, but like they're literally playing 4 rookies. Frescowi isn't great, and like
Frescowi was awful, dude.
He wasn't good, dude. But like this was still like a team full of all rookies. Like they sucked most of the year, but at the same time, like before last year and all that shit that happened with JoJo on C9 and all the stuff we like found out behind the scenes, like if people would have said like JoJo would have been like the second best mid laner in like in the LEC, if like he would have said he would have went there last year. So I mean, I think Mirwin is good. I really like Supa and Alvaro. I know Supa gets memed on a lot, but I think Supa is very good. And I mean, any team with Elioya just is going to be serviceable at least. And this team definitely has league winning upside. So I definitely agree there. And this would be the only long shot that I would take, and like that I could see actually winning the league.
Let's talk about the 3 teams that I think are the absolute worst. And it's not Rogue. I actually
it is Rogue. It is Rogue.
Look, like this Rogue lineup is long. Look.
This Rogue lineup is a prison for this Rogue lineup is a prison for Larson, and I feel bad.
Look, if we fast forward a couple months and you tell me that Rogue ended up bottom of the LEC, would not be surprised. If you said that they contended and that they gelled together, I wouldn't be surprised either, because I do think that there is a lot of talent on this team. It's just how it's going to be put together. Does Patrick show up? He's one of those guys like Upset. Like I think Patrick and Upset are the same dude, right? Except for people tell me that Upset is good, and I tell people that Patrick is good. But both of them just kind of, I don't know. They're like eating.
They're just passengers. Like
dude, they're like burgers without the fixins, man. Like
they don't make the game go. Like they can make the game better, but they don't make the game go. I think Patrick's been done for like 2 years. I'm not a Patrick fan. The thing that's most exciting about that team is Execute coming back. I think he's gonna be Jong-hoon again. So,
oh man, but think about him and Adam together, just
God,
wrecking this league. It'll be great.
Maybe another guy people will tell you that is good, that is not good, is Adam. He's terrible. He's so bad.
Maybe we can get like a Victor meta, and Larson can just absolutely carry this.
Maybe I mean Victor's
all right. So let's talk about these 3 teams that I think are absolutely terrible. Like, look, let's talk about Vitality first. Let's go from the bottom up. Nako, I love this dude. I thought he was a fantastic player in the LFL. I was excited to see he gets moved up.
Wasn't he on the Saudi Arabia team?
No, he was on Vitality.
Oh.
But man, like the rest of this roster, Hillisang, Karzi, Linkus is okay. Sijak, this team. I think that this team gets rolled like game after game after game. We fast forwarded. Rogue's the worst team, and Vitality's a good team. I will be shocked on the Vitality side.
I'd be shocked if Vitality is good. I mean, to be fair, I know absolutely nothing about Nako, and I think that's like Kayak. I don't know. Sijiak, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know. This is another team that is just a complete prison for Carzy. Carzy was like actually Carzy is good. He was good last year. He was good the year before. Like last year, he was literally like one of the best players in the entire league. But he just is like just plays with this Hylissang guy. Like, I think you can make an argument that Hylissang is like the actual worst player in the league. Another dude that he should be playing with Upset. Upset should have to play with Hylissang every split for the rest of their lives. Like Hylissang is another dude that they'll just tell you he's good, and he's just not. He will make one play a split, and like I say, and then I said in the Discord, like he made like one good play. I was like, oh, that play just got Hylissang his roster spot next year. Like.
I do remember you saying that. Just to make mention,
Terrible.
Mike, we're not going to do Clash roster analysis. I don't even know who's committed to it. It's you, me, James McCool. Maybe Kev's on a trip to Florida and the Bahamas, so he can't be. So we'll put it together. Maybe we'll record it and we'll analyze the games next week, how they all go. Kev, one of the things that I just thought of while you were talking, I think that this is a great idea. I think one of the segments that we can do on a regular basis is we're just going to break down some of these bot lanes, their laning phases, and we'll just do some analysis on how bad Upset is. If you'd like to break down some of Adam's finer moments, we'll put it together, and it'll be fantastic. It'll be.
I'll just give you a list of the players that I just absolutely fucking hate, and you can compile some clips that I have to be forced to watch.
So let's kind of skip through these other two. SK Gaming, not super excited about this team either. Like Raheel was okay. Reeker, I mean, Reeker deserved another chance, but like it's like, man, some of these guys, they get their chance and they come to teams like this, and this is his last shot, man. Like this SK team's not going to be good. This Heretics team, like Sheo, well, what are you doing, my guy? Like I think Sheo's a really good jungler, but he's not a carry. He needs to be surrounded by guys that he can make better. And I have some concerns about this. Like it is surprising to me that we've got guys like Malrang, Isma, even Closer up here on Giant X, and Yankos is stuck down in a streamer team. Basically, it boggles my mind like how we're going with some of these guys. I'm all for giving guys a chance, but like there are a lot of better options out there than what this Heretics team or even what this Giant X team. But I guess, man, when you're running a roster that has the Antonio on it last year, just about anything you do has got to be an upgrade.
Okay, so SK, they have Loopy is Korean. Okay, so SK will be good for the first 4.5 games, and then they will suck, because that's what happens with these like Korean tier 2 players. They come in and they're really, really good for the first 4.5 games, and then they're terrible because they're not good, because Korean tier 2 is not as good as Europe tier 1. And so SK, I will be betting SK early next year for sure.
I think this league's just similar to the kind of approach that I'm going to take with the LTA North, at least, is that I'm just going to bet dogs, because I think a lot of these teams are pretty equal. There are kind of some distinct tiers here, but when you look at like Giant X, SK, Heretics, Vitality, Rogue, even BDS to some extent, I really don't see that much of a difference. I think
Giant X is probably the best of those teams, just because I think out of like, what was that, Giant X, SK, Rogue, BDS, Heretics.
I think when you put BDS, I think BDS is probably
the best. Okay, taking out BDS, so Giant X, SK, Rogue, Vitality, and Heretics. I think like Jackie's and Closer are like the two. Like if you have two players that you can put in a package, like that's probably the two best like package players in all those teams.
Yeah, I mean, look, I for me, it's I think G2. G2 is in a realm just by themselves. You've got Koi, KC right under them. Like I wouldn't even call G2 like a high S tier. Like they're like an S minus, just barely, in context of this league at least. And then you've got KC and Koi right under them. Fnatic in that same tier, but like way down in that tier. And then you got BDS and maybe Giant X like right there. I think then as you go down, you've got SK and Rogue, and then you've got Vitality and Heretics way there down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So,
Unless,
I think
unless
Shio or
like,
Karzi could change our opinion on that, but that's how I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. Unless like this Skewmon guy is just like some insane prodigy, I don't see how this G2 team is better than last year. Like I don't think anyone would say Labrov is better than Mickey X. So like I like this Skewmon guy has to be. He just has to be like some sort of prodigy, and if he is, then like maybe that increases their ceiling. But if he's not, like I don't see how he's going to be significantly better than Yike, and I don't see how their like synergy is going to be better. Like I feel like this team just got worse.
Fair. So I think to kind of recap the futures, I'm looking to put a unit probably on Koi and Carmine. Well, not a full unit, maybe like a half on both of those. I'm putting one on Damwon and then like a little fraction on Brion just to feel something, just to feel something. And
just to pique your interest in watching Brion games this year.
And then I'm going to throw even less, maybe like $5 on Rogue, just for the, again, just to feel something. So, look, Kevin, we're not going to talk about the LPL today, but we are going to wrap it up. We're going to talk about LTA. We'll talk about LPL perhaps next week on Futures Fridays. Perhaps they'll have their futures out. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about the North.
Really going to skip the most interesting league.
No, they're going to get the show by themselves.
They get their own show. Oh, how nice.
Yeah. So, I looked over this and man, like there's obviously a clear delineation between the good and everybody else. You've got FlyQuest way over by themselves. Team Liquid a little bit behind them, but still significantly behind them. We don't know if this Team Liquid team can even play traditional lane matchups, let alone if they could beat FlyQuest in a true series. But then you have the rest of these teams. And outside of Leon Gaming or Lion Gaming, it's probably Lion. I think the rest of these teams they're the same, man. Like they are the same. You can't tell me that this 100 Thieves team beats this Disguise team.
Yeah, I mean we saw 100 Thieves lose to the like LLA team, so like that would be Lions Gaming or whatever. Like they literally lost to like that was the number 3 LCS team lost to that exact Lions Gaming team that's on the left side of the screen. So
yeah, I mean, look, this Lion Gaming team, Licorice, Odie, Saint, Henna, like I would say that they're clearly the worst team here. I would think that they were even worse than they are, but I have some faith in Henna that like I think he's probably better than most ADCs just mechanically. But it gives me pause. I think that the two teams that really actually give me that I'm most interested in watching play, this Disguise team. You've got Abadage, you've got Exu and Huhi, and I think this team is interesting. I think that they have
Scary Jerry.
Yeah, that's what gives me pause. But like the Shopify Rebellion team, this is a team again that could be a complete disaster. But when they're at their best and everything's clicking, and if they could get it clicking, we saw NRG win an LCS title when everything fell into place. And this is arguably a better roster than the team that won the LCS title a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't. It's the CEOs. He's the Spanish. Like the no. He's the guy from Brazil.
Brazilian. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I mean, I guess that team's fine. Like, this league is so.
It's so equal.
I just like look at all these teams other than like we know what we're gonna see from FlyQuest and Team Liquid. So like taking those two teams out, and I guess 100 Thieves to some extent. Like, you know what you're going to get from those 3 teams. Like, all these other teams just have like huge question marks. Like,
the team that I'm the least excited for, that I just don't know what's going on with them, is Cloud9. Like, we know what we're getting from Blabber, but like, we're getting Sven at this point in his career. He wasn't very good last year. He wasn't terrible, but Sven and Vulcan, it's an interesting nostalgic moment. But I was not impressed with Thanatos. I don't know much about Loki. This team could be the worst team in the league, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was. Dignitas, I was excited when they went and got King. The top half of the map with Sheedon and Surdy, it gives me pause. I think Tomo's all right if you're just going to run this through mid lane, right? Like, I think that's the idea, is that Tomo's not your primary carry, that everything runs through the mid lane. I would have liked to see Yuji on this team. I think he would have fit. But yeah, I'm not excited about C9 at all.
I think with C9, it's the same thing as Damwon, where it's like they were fine in terms of like their hands. They just had no idea what to do after 14 minutes in every game. So like Sven is bad, like Beryl, like just objectively, he's like not a very good player. But if he's like a voice that can help them, maybe that fixes their issues. I don't know anything about Loki. So who was their mid laner last year? Jojo. Jojo wasn't any good. Jojo wasn't any good last year. So I mean, if he can be better than that, I mean, I don't know how many teams. I don't really know how the system works, so I don't know how many of these teams are gonna we're gonna see it international. I think only 2, right?
Yeah, I think that they'll have to compete perhaps with somebody from this. We'll take a look at this team here or this league.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think that I think with FlyQuest and Team Liquid, just because we didn't talk about those teams, my personal belief on those teams, and I'm so glad that I was the Debbie Downer last year in terms of like the Team Liquid hype train, and it paid off dividends at Worlds because they sucked. But like, I think we've seen the peak of both of those teams. Like, I don't think it gets any better. Like, I just don't. At least with FlyQuest. Who's their AD carry? Is it Meat? No, it's not Meech. It's Masu and Quad or Quid. One of the those 2 are at least very good.
Well, and Masu's only going to be better than last year.
Masu is genuinely good, yes. And then like the same issue with this team is like their top laner can just solo lose any game. And I don't like teams like that, but I mean, as far as the LCS, I mean, they should be fine, but
so the Americas, they're gonna send 3 teams.
Okay.
So you get the North and the South, and then you're gonna get one other team. So like arguably, I think.
So they send 3. So like the whole of the Americas, or LTA or whatever they're calling it. LTA, horrible, stupid name, by the way. Awful. Should have just been called the Americas like it is in Valorant. But so they get 3 seeds at Worlds, and then like it has to be one from each conference, right?
Yep. So whoever wins, it looked like whoever wins the third split on each side, goes as the automatic qualifiers, and then there's going to be another team. So instantly looking at this, I think it's going to be FlyQuest. It's going to be probably Team Liquid, but potentially one of these other teams. But let's look at like the South. I haven't looked at these rosters a ton.
Yeah, me neither. Shocker.
But I don't.
I mean, obviously, like right away, obviously, like it's just probably Loud and Pain again. Like, I don't know who any of these people. Like, Red Cannons. I know Brant's and Grevstar.
Yeah, Red's a decent team, but I don't like just looking at this, and I've watched this league a lot more than a lot of people.
Yeah,
like Vivo is interesting. Trimby, I know you're not a huge fan, but like in this league, I think
Trimby is finally in a league where he belongs, so that's good. Brazil is a good place for him. Maybe he can call up his good friend Malrang and get him back on the team. That would be something intriguing about Vivo. Keep just a little 2022 rogue reuniting between Trimby and Malrang. They won the LEC together somehow. Yeah. I don't. I mean,
I don't know. I think that
I
this
don't know.
is
Yeah,
a Loud, Pain,
yeah,
Red,
Loud and Pain.
Devo.
I mean,
I
I
guess the
know
Cyrus, like Birdall, Jose Dioto,
maybe. Yeah,
Ackerman. Ackerman's garbage. Like, no, this is a
Miru is
Loud, Pain,
bad.
or Red. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I know
it's these three teams. It's these three teams. That's it.
Leviathan has a lot of like Leviathan is a fairly like rich org. So I don't know if like these are any good players. But I know they have money, so at least they do in Valorant. So they like just buy the best player in the world every year. So I don't know. Maybe they're good. Maybe they'll be good. I don't know. I think I can confidently say I will not be tuning in to any LTA South games.
I will. I will be watching.
Oh,
quite a few of them.
I know you will, but
I love that shit, man.
oh yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
I will tune
we
in
just-
when that I will tune in when the LTA North plays the LTA South, and I will heavily be rooting for the South.
Kevin, you watch the LTA, South when you're watching the LEC. You watch them at the same time. You have your bets going on there, and
God.
that's all it is. You're just doing it for your bets. You're doing
I
it for
can
your
take
underdog.
I can only
That's
take
fine.
one shit league at a time, so I prefer to watch the.
No, dude.
I'll watch the
shit.
LEC with Cadril screaming in my ear instead of the LTA South. It's probably about the same level of gameplay. So,
all right. Well, I mean, that concludes where we're at. We'll talk about the LPL. Hopefully, some of these rosters will be filled in. Next week, Kev, will you be back stateside Friday, same time, same place?
yeah, I'll be back Friday.
All right.
Yeah, we fly back Friday, or yeah, we fly back Friday, I think.
All right. Well, Friday or Saturday, we'll do one or the other. We'll take a look at the LPL. We'll break that down, and we'll kind of just take it from there. So that's Futures Friday, and we'll see you guys on maybe on Sunday. Maybe we'll do like a little live stream. We'll watch the games, maybe watch some football. We'll figure it out. But stay tuned. The Cove is going to have a lot of entertaining stuff. Gugs may or may not come on and do another Wonder League test. That was the peak, and we need to relive it. So I'll talk to you guys later.